A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
Brighton 4-0 Manchester United visitors' worst Premier League match of all time. If you watched the match on television, you may have noticed that Brighton dominated Manchester United visitors.
This article looks at how Brighton's dominant display in the Premier League helped Brighton win the match, Diogo Dalot's struggles in the Premier League, and Man United's defensive fragility. We'll also discuss why Brighton's performance in the Premier League was so surprising.
And in case you didn't see the match, here's a quick recap of the most interesting moments. Brighton 4-0 Manchester United visitors.
In what will likely be the Brighton fans' worst Premier League match of all time, the Seagulls thrashed Manchester United 4-0 at the Amex Stadium. After beating Everton, Liverpool and Arsenal in the previous 2 weeks, United's losing streak has reached 5 games.
That's the most away games the Red Devils have lost since December 1980 when they lost 6 straight. It's a record that could become even worse for the Seagulls.
The visitors snatched a point after the second half and could have had more had they not conceded 4 goals in the first half. However, Brighton were able to find some holes in United's defense to make it look much easier for the Seagulls.
They have now conceded 56 Premier League goals, their worst tally in a single season. Despite their poor start to the season, they now sit 6th, 5 points off 4th-placed Arsenal.
The Seagulls had the majority of the possession in this match, and the tempo was set by Moises Caicedo, who started the game brilliantly. He pressed the Manchester United defense, created some danger, and was calm and brave in the middle of the pitch.
His goal was a well-taken first goal for Brighton. Hopefully he can keep up this good work.
With the help of his teammates, Brighton will continue to dominate the Premier League. It's difficult to believe that the mighty Manchester United can be knocked out of the Premier League this season.
This team, which spent PS 120 million on players, are nowhere near their former self. The fans should be grateful that they managed to halt the slump in form. But if United want to win the title, they need to start winning games.
And they must do so soon. The pressure is building, but Brighton will be in the European quarter-finals.
Brighton's dominance in the Premier League. There is a certain irony in Brighton's dominance of the Premier League, especially considering their poor recent results against the top teams.
This season, they failed to beat any of the smaller sides, scoring just 3 times. Previously, they used to be able to tear apart relegation battlers with ease.
However, since the start of the current campaign, they've been unable to do so and are currently 12th in the league. Despite their poor form, the Seagulls were a different story on Saturday.
After a slow start, the Seagulls' first goal was an early header by Marc Cucurella, who then found Leandro Trossard. The striker struck the ball low and hard into the bottom corner, putting Brighton ahead for the first time in the Premier League this season.
Then, a poor clearance by Nemanja Matic allowed Brighton to get a third goal. In the second half, the Seagulls nearly added a second, but a defender's clearance was blocked by a defender.
However, Danny Welbeck was unlucky not to score from a free kick on the volley after a brilliant first half. However, Rangnick was not happy with the first 45 minutes and brought on Fred and Edinson Cavani, and Brighton's dominance continued.
In the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, the club acted as the voice of the Premier League and the wider public. The club's boardroom leadership and coaches guided their players, fans, and wider fan base through the turmoil.
During this period, the Premier League was shut down for 3 months due to a coronavirus pandemic. This meant financial problems for clubs, health concerns for players, and fears for playing in their home stadiums.
The Brighton team stepped up their game to avoid being relegated, and they won. Diogo Dalot's struggles in the Premier League.
There are several reasons behind Diogo Dalot's Premier League form. The Portuguese international is currently struggling to establish himself in the first team, having started just 4 of his last 6 games.
In addition to Dalot's recent struggles, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been reduced to a substitute role. Manchester United are keen to find a new midfielder to replace the ineffective Dalot.
The Portuguese defender had a good time in the Italian league with Rossoneri and made himself a fan favorite. His partnership with Theo Hernandez saw them combine for 8 goals and 6 assists, as well as a 0.16 xG per 90 minutes.
However, Dalit found himself back on the bench this season, and his chances were dwindling. After Solskjaer's poor Premier League form, he was a bit of a disappointment and moved on to AC Milan on loan.
The lack of confidence in the Brazilian is a definite concern for Manchester United and his team. Dalit has shown great improvement in recent months, but his lack of confidence is still holding him back.
He might be the answer to the right-hand side of United's defence in the long run, although the club should consider adding a more experienced fullback in the summer. In the meantime, the Portuguese international will continue to learn, and his improved performances will surely help his cause.
After being a top-class defender in Portugal, Dalit has struggled to adjust to Premier League football. He was rated highly by José Mourinho when he signed for Manchester United at the age of 20.
However, he has only made 23 Premier League appearances since joining from Porto. In addition to injury concerns, Dalit has struggled to adapt to the physical nature of the Premier League.
Man United's defensive fragility. The results of the first half suggest a hugely disappointing night for Manut.
In the first half, the home side dominated proceedings and took advantage of defensive fragility. They managed to score twice in the first 2 minutes, the first coming when Robert Sanchez's clearance found the run of Cucurella, who evaded a weak challenge from Varane to shoot past De Gea.
The second goal comes when Danny Welbeck lifts a cross into the 6-yard box and Diogo Dalit's rebounded effort puts Brighton in front a while when Bissaka was touted as the next challenger to the England Old Guard. His progress has stagnated at Old Trafford and he has been linked with a move away from the club.
Despite his ability to get forward and defend, the young midfielder is unreliable at the back. His development has also been hindered by a lack of regular action and is thought to be vulnerable on the defensive side.
Manchester United's defensive fragility is still a concern as the season draws to a close. However, the team did manage to get the equaliser early on in the second half, with Marc Cucurella slamming home a minute later.
In the closing stages, Brighton's defensive fragility was highlighted once more, as the home side managed to score 4 goals in less than 3/4 of an hour. Leeds United will have to react to Manchester United's performance at Brighton with a similar defensive fragility.
The away team is faster and more ruthless. They have scored 5 goals in the Premier League since Rangnick took over the club.
Leeds were beaten 5-1 at Old Trafford back in August 2021. In the meantime, they are struggling to score enough goals to counteract their defensive fragility.
Harry Maguire's absence from the starting room. There is no denying that the England international is a missing piece in Brighton's midfield.
After a turbulent week involving the bomb scare and criticism from fans, the 33-year-old has been rested and is not likely to feature in the Manchester derby. In his place, Raphael Varane should partner Victor Lindelof.
The absence of Marcus Rashford from Manchester United has been the main reason for the England international to be ruled out of Saturday's Premier League match against Brighton. The midfielder has been out of action for the past 3 games, missing the matches against Chelsea and Brentford.
His absence has caused some controversy and has been the subject of much criticism this season. However, the Frenchman will be back in contention for Saturday's match, where he is expected to replace the injured Rashford.
The England international made his senior debut in October 2017 and has since played 166 games for the club. He was named in the FIS 1 Team of the Season 3 times, twice as many as Matic did.
In 2014, he signed for Hull City for PS £2.5 million and a year later, he was loaned out to Wigan Athletic. In the summer of 2017, he signed for Premier League club Leicester City for PS £12 million.
Within 6 months of signing, he was appointed captain of the club. In addition to Maguire's absence, Victor Lindelof is expected to start against Brighton.
The Dutch winger scored his first Premier League goal in the last game against Manchester United. Meanwhile, Harry Maguire's absence from the starting 11 also means that a host of players will be rested and new signings could come in.